Zoe Temple, how is it? How are you doing? I've missed every one of you. Also for Yankee, how are you? Reverend Amasari and your family, Josephine, I've missed everyone. Oh, the guys who welcome me always at the car park, I've missed all the macho guys at the car park. I've missed all of you. But I'd like to thank you for having me. I would like to thank you for making me a part of what this wonderful thing you are doing for men in the month of June. I am so grateful to be one of the people you have chosen to speak to the issue. And my topic is very simple. The man and his family. The man and his family, or the man and the family. But before I do that, let me say that I like to always pay tribute on an ICGC platform to the anointing and the favor upon God's servant, Dr. Mensa Otabil, whose obedience to God has provided this platform on which we can all meet and fellowship. So may God continue to protect him and continue to renew his anointing upon him. And upon the Papa of Zoe Temple, Yankee man, may God bless and keep you and sustain you. And may he continue to lift you higher and higher. Oh, and that project, may God provide all that we need to complete it beyond everybody's wildest imagination. Now, for this presentation, I'm going to touch on 10 points. And to make it easier for us to understand in discussing the man and his family, I am going to use the letter P. So I'm going to give you 10 P's that concern the man and his family. So I'll give you the summary, then I'll pick them one after the other, and then we'll take it up from there. So let's go. Number one, the first P, the man prepares himself for the family. The man prepares himself. Number two, the man plans for his family and plans with the family. The man plans his family and he plans for the family. The man plans his family and he plans for the family. Number three, the man presides over the family. Number four, the man pastors his family. Number five, the man prophesies over his family. There's something very interesting there that I'll share with you. It is one of the things that when we are talking about the father and his family, we don't talk about, but it is so important. Number six, the man provides for his family. And I know we take it for granted that we know that the man is a provider, but I'll surprise you with some insights there. Number seven, the man protects his family. Number nine, the man partners the family or members of the family. He partners them. Number 10, the man pours himself into the family. So let's go. Number one, the man prepares himself for the family. Now, let's take the example. Do you understand? I do not know if you. I'd like you to go and check this. In 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 23. 1 Samuel chapter 18. Let me set the context for you. Saul is beginning to get very uncomfortable with the rise of fame of David. And so he's trying all kinds of ways of neutralizing him. And one of the first things he did was to say, take my daughter, marry my daughter. And then David said, no, I can't marry your daughter. Then, so he married the daughter away. Then, later on, he realized, no, the threat of David still is there. I must find something to make sure he's in my camp. So he offers his second daughter, Michal, and said, be my son-in-law. And David again says, no, I can't, because you are the king. It is not an... Then he speaks. Saul then goes to speak with people and say, go and talk to David for me. Tell David I'm serious about wanting him to become my son-in-law. So they go to David, and this is what David says in 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 23. He said to them, do you think it is a small thing to be the king's son-in-law? Do you think it is a small thing to be the king's son-in-law? Now, I find that significant. Too many people rush into a relationship, into marriage and things like that, without realizing that it is important to check yourself first. And that is where a real man excels. He prepares himself for the family. Think about it. Do you think that it is for nothing that God put Adam in the garden first before adding Eve? God could have given both. God could have created both of them and put them in the garden at the same time. But no, Adam needed to prepare himself to receive Eve. So the man prepares himself. Now, even a better example is the case of Jesus. We know that Jesus is the bridegroom of the church. As the Lord of the church, he is the bridegroom. And what did Jesus say in John chapter 14? He said, I am going to prepare a place for you. And then if I go and prepare a place for you, then I'll come for you. So the man prepares himself for the family. Number two, the man plans the family and he plans for the family. The man plans the family and he plans for the family. It begins with the choice of a spouse. When people are deciding who to marry, they often overlook the fact that it is a decision for the ages. It is a decision for generations. The mother you are going to give your children, the grandmother you are going to give your grandchildren. Now, that is not an easy title. It's not an easy decision to take just like that. And so, the man begins by planning his family by asking himself, who can work with me on this? Because planning your family begins with setting a vision. It begins with a vision. And who is it who can help me execute this vision? Who is it who can help me and work with me towards this? Because you see, for real men, it is always about the next generation. It's not about our generation. Any man who thinks only of himself and his generation is not wise. Our lives are to impact generations after us. Otherwise, our lives have been wasted. So, the first, the man prepares himself for the family. Number two, the man plans the family and plans for the family. Number three, the man presides over the family. The man presides over the family. When we talk about somebody presiding over a meeting or over a committee or presiding over even a church or a community, we are talking about somebody who exercises guidance, who exercises direction and control. Three things. Guidance. So the man provides guidance. The man provides direction for the family. And he also exercises control of the family. And you'll find that you'll find that in Ephesians chapter 5 verse 31, where the Bible says the man is the head of his household, the head of his wife, the head of his household. And so that is why the man presides over the family, and he takes that very seriously. Every good man takes it seriously. Number four, the man pastors his family. If you're a man and you are not providing spiritual leadership in your home, you are failing your spouse and your children. The man must be the first to pray. Your children must learn to pray by watching you pray. Your wife must rush into prayer because she knows my husband is praying. And not just that, you are a pastor in that if you ask your pastor, the Yankee man, he will tell you what goes into becoming into being a pastor. You pray for the congregation, or you pray for the flock under you. You teach them. You encourage them. You inspire them. You rebuke them when they need to be rebuked, and you train them. Those are a few of the things that a pastor does. And all that a man must do for his family, for his home, for his children, for his wife and children. He must be their pastor. So that If your wife woke up with a bad dream or a nightmare, she must be able to be confident enough to tell you, no, you pray about it. Not that you ridicule it and say, what, you saw a cow chasing you in your dream. Oh, it means it is because you chewed kebab the night before. No, that is not it. You don't ridicule it. As a pastor, you try and provide calmness for that situation. But let's go on to number 5, because this is one of the areas that we don't talk about when we are talking about the responsibilities of men in the home. And it is this: the man prophesies over his family. The man is the prophet of his home. Now, note, I have made that different from pastor, being the pastor of your home, because prophesying is a very different one. Where do I get this idea from? I'd like you to check Genesis chapter 49 and verse 1. You'll find a very interesting there. Jacob calls all his children and says to them, gather around, so I can tell you what will happen to you in days to come. Gather around so I can tell you what will happen in days to come. And then he goes through, and if you take that whole chapter, every son, he mentioned all 12 of them. He went through all of them. And for each of them, he would mention your name. He would even give an idea of why you are called that. And then he would tell you what is ahead of you. He will give a prophecy about you. You know, the words of a father over his children, over his home, they are powerful. And that is why fathers should be very careful what comes out of their mouth concerning their children. A mother can get angry and say, let a father say that, and because you have the spiritual authority. You are the prophet. And fathers should be careful. You know, so if you're a father, if you're a man of the home, always speak positive things over the people in the house. Even the child who is not doing well, don't say you are a useless boy. Say something. Prophesy what you want to become true of that child. Because you are the prophet. Stand in that office for your family. Prophesy. Your financial situations, don't put your hands on your head and say, yeah, what are we going to do in this coronavirus? Prophesy abundance over your home. Prophesy prosperity. Why? Because you are a prophet. You are an anointed prophet for your home. And like I said, this is the one role of a man in the home that we don't give a lot of attention to. But I hope that from today, you would be careful about it. Appreciate that role of yours. And that is why we should all be careful how we treat our fathers and how we relate to our fathers. In the case of Jacob, one of his children had actually gone to sleep with a girl he had slept with. And so he says, you were born to excel, but you will not excel anymore. Because of that thing you did, you will not excel anymore. And mark it, because the father said it. This son of his, who was excelling above all the brothers, did not excel anymore. All because his father has spoken to it. You remember the case of Isaac with Jacob and Esau? He had blessed Jacob. He had given the blessings that he wanted to give to the first son to Jacob. He has spoken it as a prophet. He had given the blessings to Jacob as a prophet. He could not go and unwind it. He could not go and cancel it. So when Esau came, he had to tell Esau, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about it. Because I'm a prophet and I have spoken, and I can't unspeak what I have spoken. I said, I blessed him. And he said, I've made him your head, and he's going to be your head. He's going to be superior to you. Because I've said it. You know, it's interesting. You go and read it. He said, because I have said it, I have given him this. I have given him the blessings of this. I have given him this kind of blessing. I can't reverse it. And of course, Esau kept on crying and said, don't you even have one for me? One for me. So that role of fathers, let's appreciate it. Of men in their homes, let's appreciate it. Number 6, that is why women are permitted to say and talk and rant. Men, don't rant in your home. Because every word that comes out of your mouth is equivalent to a prophecy. 6, the man provides for his family. The man provides for his family. Now, I know that as soon as we talk, the man provides for his family, everybody knows it. Oh, yeah. I'm for chop money, Nemra. It's not about chop money here. It's not about the school fees. It's not even about the rent. What does a man provide for his family? Listen, he provides a vision for his family. That's the first thing a man provides for his family. And to provide that vision, the man himself must have a vision for himself and have one for his home, for his marriage, for his children. A man must have a vision. The man must have an identity. He must provide an identity for the family. So that, the Israelites can say, I am a child of Abraham. Why? Because Abraham gave an identity. He provided an identity for everyone. I am an Israelite. Why? I'm a child of Israel. I'm a child of Jacob. Why? He provided an identity. A man provides identity for his home. So that they are in good homes, they can tell you that in this home, nobody is a liar. In this home, nobody is a thief. In this home, nobody does this. I was listening to one of these American celebrities, and was talking about why he never ended up in prison. It was Shaquille. Shaquille was saying that as he grew, he always heard the people, his older siblings and relatives in the home saying, in this home, nobody goes to prison. Nobody born from here goes to prison. It was an identity. And of course, he didn't think it had even sunk in until one day when he had done something and he was running from the police. And as he went and hid from the police and was in there, then it occurred to him, oh my goodness, I am going against the identity of my family. And from that point, he resolved, from here, I'm going to live that identity in this home. So wouldn't it be nice if somebody says, the identity here, in this home, everybody excels. In this home, everybody excels. It comes from the Father. The Father provides that for his family. I've talked about vision. I've talked about identity. I will gloss over financial and material because, those are the things we expect them to do. So let me move on to emotional. The Father provides emotionally for the family. Sometimes we underestimate the role and the impact of father. When a man is at home, even when he's not speaking, even when he's not interacting with the rest of the home, his very presence brings assurance. It calms everybody down. Daddy is in. Daddy is around. There's a certain emotional comfort that comes from that. And children never outgrow that. If they may move from the home and be on their own, but they always yearn for that relationship, that feeling, that knowledge, that is around. Daddy is around. Why? Because a father provides emotional comfort for the family, emotional support for the family. 7, the man protects his family. The man protects his family. Now, when you hear that for the first time, you would think in the traditional way that, if armed robbers are coming, the man should be there. Except that if it's armed robbers, hey, on your bulletproof, he will not be there. He will maybe hiding on the bed. So quite often, it is not a physical macho protection that matters. Because now, the dangers that a family faces is not the danger of somebody breaking into the home. The danger that the family faces are dangers based on values from outside that can destroy every investment you've made in a child and destroy their future and take away their destiny. So a father protects his home from that. A father protects his home from the negative influences coming from the home and coming from outside, from school, from wherever, from the neighborhood. The father must be able to draw the lines that these kind of things won't get here. They are not welcome here. But the father also protects his family by disciplining the children. You know, the Bible says something that in our time we don't want to say. I like the Chi version of it. It says, Bone e bata abafra akoma na eye what is it? Abba. It is the cane of instruction that takes it away. So, you see, if you do not raise your children well, they will go and bring trouble home. If you don't discipline them so that they are conditioned to know what limits are, to know what authority is, you would always be following them to the police station to bail them out. Then you haven't done your job as a protector. If you are protecting them, protect them from themselves. That's what a father does. A father protects the children from their worst impulses by being strong enough and being a source of discipline enough so that the children know there are certain things that we can't do, that we can't cross. Remember what I said about identity? It goes back to creating identity for them. So every child knows in his mind that my daddy's children, we don't do this. 8. The man positions his family. Now, I know that what I'm going to say about this will create some controversy. But hey, let me, since no matter how I say it, it will bring controversy. So let me hurry up and say it so that I get into trouble faster. The man positions his family. What do I mean? And what I'm going to say would offend anybody who regards himself as poor. But if you are a poor person and you take offense at what I'm going to say, I have one question for you. Who told you you were created to be poor? Why would you want to put the title poor on yourself? You may not have the money today, but I expect that your aspiration is not to stay poor. So when I'm talking about poor people, say, he's not talking about me. So I'm not talking about you. But wealthy families do very well in positioning the children. It begins with the father himself positioning himself, but quite often in well-to-do homes, some of the well-to-do homes I know, the father himself had no background. The father himself had a very disadvantaged background and upbringing. He was from a poor home, but he decides, I'm going to position my family differently. So what do? One, they make sure they marry well. They marry the right person who also has a vision for something bigger. 2, when the children come, they begin to ensure that the children go to good schools. Some schools are called elite schools, and they are called elite schools for a good reason. It's not because they teach better, but it's because of the networking opportunities there. The secondary school I went, I haven't met any of my mates in any office occupying a high position. But my friends who went to Achimota and went to Infansepim and went to the other good schools, every door they knock on, there's somebody there who was either a senior or a mate or a junior. That is a beautiful thing. So there are certain schools, as soon as you go in, you become a member of that school, an alumni of that school, you have networks. And fathers who know what their responsibilities are careful. What they do is that they give their children better opportunities than they had. In doing that, what they doing? They are positioning the family. They are positioning the family. In one family, I know that I regard myself as part of that family. The man decided, even before he married, my first child is going to be accountant. My first child is going to be a doctor, man or woman. The next one is going to be accountant, man or woman. An accountant, I mean a chartered accountant. And then the next one is going to be engineer. It was clear in his mind. The first child comes, and as part of the position, and this is where the mistake parents make. There are parents who learn this and don't learn it well. So they decide, I want my son to be a doctor. But they don't build the positioning well. They don't program the positioning well. In this home, because he wanted these things for the children, as the children grew, the games they were playing in the home were games meant to make them aspire to those professions. The books that were scattered around, the children thought there were books lying around, but it was all planned. The storybooks are well chosen. The art books and what you draw, all chosen. Because the man was careful about positioning. And then he encouraged his wife and said, you cannot rest with first degree. You've got to also, because the children must see all of us aspiring to be something so that they also can aspire to be much more than they can be. And today, he's got all his wish. The children, the first son is a doctor, now stationed in Canada, doing great things. The second child is a chartered accountant, working with an accounting firm right here in Accra, and the next one, and it runs there. It was not by accident. So sometimes they say, they were fortunate. No, they were not fortunate. The man planned it. He positioned the family. He wanted the family to be positioned there. So that, I think what he wanted is that so that when the name is dropped, everybody can take certain things for granted about you because of the way we have positioned the family and the name. And that is what a man does. He positions the family. 9, the man partners the family. You know, earlier I talked about the man presiding over the family. That needs to be balanced with the man partnering the family. What does that mean? You know, even though the man would want to position the family, he must also play another game of knowing that I want my child to be a doctor, but does he have the natural equipment to be a doctor? If he doesn't, let me move on to plan B. How can I work with this child? How can I partner this child so that he can become the best in whatever he can be? Even if he's to be a taxi driver, let him become the best taxi driver there is, because there's no shame in being a taxi driver. But there could be a taxi driver that the whole community is talking about and said, have you sat in this person's car? When you go to the station, wait for him, ask for him. He partners them. And this thing hit me when I watched the thing that everybody in sports is talking about, The Last Dance, which featured the life and the career of Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan saw his father as his partner in the game. Because he would tell you, there wasn't a game that my father was not present with me. And he said, we would talk for long hours after the game, and he would be giving me advice and telling me what to do next. So when Michael Jordan's father died, that is why Michael Jordan retired from basketball for the first time. Because he said, who am I playing for? My father is my partner in this, and he's gone. I have no motivation anymore for this game. I will need my father here to soar. And that is when he retired and went to try his chance at baseball. Thank God he came back, because he put that into context and realized that maybe what my father would still want is that I go on and excel even without him. A father partners. You find out what are the interests of my children. Guide them. First, let the children understand, I understand your dreams. And then find ways of letting them know, but can you consider this other dream as well? So I understand that you want to be this, and I'll support you in that. But give this one also a try, because I think you would be excellent in that. I think you'll be wonderful in that. And I think that will give you more opportunities than this dream. This dream is a little bit more limiting. Move on to this. Push yourself a little bit. And oh, by the way, I'll be here with you. I'll be working with you. I would get you the books you need. I'll get you to the schools that you need to go. I will get you all the support that you need to do. A father partners his family. And the last one, number 10. The man pours himself into his family. Every man worth his name, every father worth his name, pours himself into his family. He pours his values into his family. So that he pours his principles into the family. He pours his wisdom into the family. He pours his insights into the family. He pours his strength into the family. And then he pours his fortunes into the family. It's wonderful when you meet people who are excelling in life. When you hear them talk. They're always talking about their fathers. My father said something to me. My father told me this. My father taught me this. My father did this. And inspired me. There are people, some of the biggest names in sports will tell you, I got, and also in the arts, they will tell you, I got my ethics for hard work from my father, from watching my father. So some of them will say, my father held 3 jobs just to provide for us, but he never complained. My father woke up and left the home every day at this with just his lunch box and went and worked in the factory or in the mine just so me and my siblings could have a better life, a far better life than he had. Why? The father poured himself into the children. And you see, when you do that, your children then reflect you in later life. Now we don't ask the question, but when I was growing up, there was a question every elderly person would ask you. It was, whose child are you? And sometimes they find you somewhere and you are doing something, and a mature person, an elderly person looks at you and said, come. Are you from this home? Are you the child of so and so? And then you ask, how did you know? He said, I was watching the way you're conducting yourself. Why? Because your father has poured himself into you. My father, it's interesting. My father was a drunkard. And yet he conducted himself in such a way that the society forgave him for his drunkenness. Because for some reason, he carried himself with such distinction and dignity that the whole community, even though they would see him in the evening drunk, it was almost as if he didn't register that he was drunk. And it didn't quite often work well because you are with boys, and you are doing what boys do. And then somebody will come, hey, you, single you out. Come. Are you not Mr. White's son? Say yes. And you are doing this. And then they will punish you and leave all the others. Because they're expecting that. Because what they are saying is that you haven't picked it. You should have picked what your father was pouring into you. So those are the 10 P's of a man and his family. Let's quickly go over it. 1, the man prepares himself for the family. 2, the man plans the family and he plans for the family. Number 3, the man presides over the family. Number 4, the man pastors his family. Number 5, the man prophesies over his family. Number 6, the man provides for his family. And remember, I said he provides vision, identity, and emotional support, in addition to financial and material. 7, the man protects his home, his family, not just physically, but from influences that will destroy them. And from the children, keeps the children from destroying themselves as well. 8, the man positions the family. He makes sure the family does not remain where he was. He wants the family to be far better so that they become among the movers and shakers. He positions his children that way. 9, the man partners the family. And 10, the man pours himself into his family. Now, once again, I would like to thank the leadership of Zoe Temple for allowing me to be a part of this program. I hope that something you heard has been a blessing to you. May the Lord speak to you and open your heart, especially if you're a man, to appreciate some of the things that he himself has given me to share with you. And may the real men stand to be counted. May there be a determination on your heart that from now on, I'm going to be a man in every sense, in every respect. And I'm going to be all of the 10 P's for my family. Stay blessed. And in these times, I can't end the message without saying, stay safe as well. God bless you.